If you're feeling burnt out, taking a vacation isn't going to help. It's a nice idea, right? That when you're overwhelmed, you can remove yourself for a week and come back brand new. But taking a vacation isn't a cure for burnout. I know this because I've stepped back from corporate life for a few months after years of an intense workload. Doing nothing isn't what's curing my burnout. Finding activities that I enjoy is, though. In a world of hollow tasks, you may not actually know what you like to do, so how do you figure out what hobbies you enjoy? We're on our way to try golfing for the first time. Actually, not for the first time. We've done this once before. We went last week and tried to hit golf balls from the top of the range. From the top of the driving range. So neither of us know anything about golf. Nick played baseball for a long time, so he at least has a lot of depth on his swing. I'm lucky if it makes it to like the actual part that balls are supposed to land at. Last week we went having no idea what we were doing, and then since then I've watched a bunch of videos on TikTok to try and figure out how you're supposed to actually swing the golf club to have like a nice hit. So I have some of that in my memory right now, and hopefully I can like transfer that out into the actual playing. We'll see. But yeah, that's the plan for today. It's a really beautiful day. We're gonna go try and see if golf will make a good hobby. Doing anything athletic with Nick is annoying because he looks like he knows what he's doing, and no one's looking at him questioning if he knows how to swing a golf club, but I can tell you he knows as much as I do. When I was planning this video, I fully prepared to get on my high horse and talk about how you have to let yourself be bad at something to learn something new, and then I spent an hour hitting golf balls and got so frustrated at how bad I was that I gave the rest of the golf balls to Nick. I'm a classic overachiever, but I'm trying to unlearn this. It's odd that we rarely see adults be bad at something to learn a new hobby, but by that logic, you need to learn everything you need to know by the time you're 18, and I don't think that's reasonable. So I still stand by my point, get comfortable being bad at something, otherwise you'll never learn something new, and I'll do my best to do this too. Number 2 is don't set a goal. When we lower our expectations, we actually become a lot happier. When you set a goal, you picture yourself achieving it and you immediately put yourself in that situation. If you don't achieve that goal in the timeline that you're expecting, or you don't feel the way that you thought you would feel when you achieve that goal, then the letdown becomes really real. If you don't set the goal in the first place, then you don't have the chance to let yourself down. And this may sound like a very anti-achievement way of approaching something, but that's because that's exactly what this is. You don't need to set goals for everything in your life. There's a time and a place for that. But with a hobby, you're just doing it for the practice of enjoying the time and the space that it's providing you. Remember, there's not supposed to be an output for this. This is just the enjoyment for the enjoyment's sake. 3 is find something for enjoyment but not for pleasure. The difference between enjoyment and pleasure here is that pleasure is something addictive and something that is mindless and easy to do, where enjoyment might take a little bit more thought and preparation, but is something that in the long term will provide you with more happiness. For example, pleasure is something like scrolling on social media, watching Netflix, going out and drinking with your friends. These are all things that can be fun, but they're not necessarily going to add up to be something that's more fulfilling. Enjoyment is something that you have to put more effort into, but in the long term is going to make you feel a lot more accomplished. Ultimately, we're going for something with lasting fulfillment. So something that requires some creativity, that requires a little bit more effort, that in the long run will be worth it. Number 4 is pick something for enjoyment, but not as a side hustle. The point of this is not to make money. That's so important, because when you attach a monetary value to your time and what you're doing in every aspect of your life, that sucks out some of the joy of what you're experiencing, because you're doing it for another purpose, and that purpose means that you're gonna have to keep doing it even when you don't want to do that. So for example, I started this YouTube channel as a hobby and it was a lot of fun, but then decided to pursue it even further, and now I'd say it's more of like a side hustle for me. So I think of it more like I think of a business or a job. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't start a YouTube channel or shouldn't build a social media following or anything like that. The point is that if you're doing that, think of it more as a business. It's not necessarily something that you're doing just for enjoyment. You're doing it for a greater purpose. The purpose of finding a hobby isn't to make money. It might come eventually, like maybe you become an expert knitter and then you open up an Etsy shop and then that Etsy shop is successful and then you make a lot of money off of that. But that's a lot of what ifs that you're hinging your happiness on. And that's not the point of this. The point is to build something that you enjoy doing just for the sake of doing it. And when money is involved, you're gonna lose a sense of enjoyment because now it has the purpose of providing for you. And if your basic needs start to rely on doing what you're doing, like doing a hobby, then it's no longer a hobby, it's a business. And this isn't a video about starting a business. It's a video about curing burnout by finding hobbies and things that we enjoy just doing for the sake of doing them. And finally, just get going. It's easy to spend a lot of time researching the perfect hobby to pick up, but in the end, it doesn't really matter until you try it. It's one thing to watch someone do something, like it's one thing to watch someone talk about building a YouTube channel, and it's a whole nother thing to do it yourself. So you may start something and realize that you absolutely hate it, and that's okay. You can stop doing it if you don't like it after you've given it a fair chance. But getting stuck in an analysis paralysis isn't gonna get you anywhere, and that's not gonna solve the problem of feeling like you need to do something more fulfilling with your time. So if you need help having accountability, find a friend who's interested in doing the same thing. Or you can take a course through Coursera online or something like Skillshare. And if you don't have a friend that is interested in doing the same things that you want to do, that's totally fine. Don't feel like you need to force yourself into doing what other people expect of you. Do something like take an improv class, and every week someone is going to expect you to be there, and it's something that you paid for, so you have a lot of accountability already built in. You don't have to worry about your own motivation pushing you through. And at the end of the class, if you don't like it, there's no shame in deciding that you don't want to continue with it. You can say that you did it, put that to rest, and then find something new. And that's all there is to it. You don't need to stress about what you're doing or worry about an end goal. You don't need to try and build an empire or monetize something. It just is the sake of trying something for enjoyment. And if you like it, great. And if not, you can move on. Thanks for coming along as I try a bunch of new things. I actually signed up for golf lessons to try golf in the spring. I hope that you sign up for something as well, and if you do decide to pick something up, let me know in the comments below. As always, I'm a new YouTuber trying to grow my channel, so any kind of engagement is helpful, so feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you like the content, and I will see you in the next one.